It starts with a box. A simple wooden or cardboard crate, maybe a reusable canvas bag, handed off with a smile or waiting patiently on a porch. Inside, there's a bundle of freshly pulled carrots, their feathery tops still speckled with soil. There's a handful of deep green kale, curling at the edges like ruffled lace, a pint of cherry tomatoes bursting with color, and maybe a surprise, purple kohlrabi, golden beets, or a bunch of lemon basil whose fragrance hits you before the color does. This box is more than produce. It is a sign of a changing world, one where community-supported agriculture, or CSA, is reshaping the way we think about food, farming, and the spaces between. In an age where supermarket shelves brim with identical apples, perfectly waxed and shipped from 1,000 miles away, something feels impersonal about the way we eat. Convenience reigns, but connection is lost. Community-supported agriculture rewinds that disconnect, planting people back into the soil of their own neighborhoods. Through CSA, consumers and farmers enter a shared agreement. The community pledges support before the harvest, often paying at the beginning of the season, and in return, they receive a share of the farm's bounty throughout the growing months. But what makes CSA so radical isn't just the food itself, it's the transformation of the entire food experience. When you hold a CSA box in your hands, you aren't just holding vegetables. You're holding the rhythm of the seasons, the result of rainfalls and sunny days, of decisions made in the field with care and risk. One week might bring glossy eggplants and peppery arugula, the next may surprise you with sweet corn and snap peas. In winter, it's thick-skinned butternut squash, parsnips, and cabbage that flavor your stews and soups. Each crop tells a story. A handful of raspberries in July speaks of early morning harvests and nimble fingers. A bulb of garlic in September holds the memory of being planted last autumn, resting all winter underground. That sense of seasonality reconnects eaters with nature's real timetable, not the one manufactured by fluorescent-lit stores and long-haul logistics. People begin to notice the flavor difference in vine-ripened tomatoes versus those picked green and gassed to ripen. They start craving spring asparagus and learn patience for the zucchini that arrives in abundance by midsummer. The abundance is real, boxes filled to the brim with cucumbers, chard, broccoli, radishes, and bunches of herbs like thyme, oregano, and dill. What's more, this abundance is often shared with a narrative, a note tucked into the box from the farmer, explaining the week's choices, the weather challenges, or the joy of an early melon harvest. And the food? It tastes different. Not just because it's fresher, harvested within 24 to 48 hours of landing in your kitchen, but because you know its source. You've maybe visited the farm, walked among the rows of lettuce, waved to the chickens pecking beside the greenhouse. Perhaps your kids helped pull carrots from the ground, squealing with excitement as the orange roots emerged. That act of touching the place your food grows changes the way you eat. Food becomes more than fuel, it becomes a relationship. That relationship also changes the way we cook. Gone are the days of building meals around store-bought recipes. Now, the food dictates the menu. A CSA share arrives with fennel. Suddenly, there's a shaved fennel salad on the table, dressed with lemon juice and olive oil. A surplus of tomatoes. Time to roast them slowly with garlic for pasta sauce. With CSA, creativity blooms in the kitchen. People begin to experiment with kabocha squash, sauté mustard greens, bake with rhubarb, and discover the delicate sweetness of turnips when roasted. It's not just the consumers who benefit. For farmers, CSA is a lifeline. Traditional farming is fraught with financial uncertainty, weather, pests, fluctuating market prices. CSA provides a cushion. That upfront investment from the community means that farmers can plan better, hire staff, buy seeds, and weather rough patches. It allows them to grow a wider variety of crops without being beholden to the demands of wholesale buyers who want only uniform produce. This, in turn, encourages biodiversity. Instead of endless rows of a single monocrop, CSA farms boast a rich patchwork: rainbow chard, baby bok choy, sugar snap peas, green beans, yellow summer squash, and fragrant bunches of mint and tarragon. The fields themselves become healthier, more balanced, and more resilient. The social fabric also strengthens. CSA fosters relationships not just between individuals and their farmers, but among neighbors. Pickup days become informal gatherings. Recipes are traded while selecting bunches of basil or comparing sizes of sweet potatoes. Children make friends among rows of sunflowers. And in times of crisis, floods, droughts, economic downturns, the community shows up. It's not uncommon to see CSA members volunteer on harvest days, bringing their hands to the field, closing the distance between themselves and the source of their nourishment. Economically, CSA shifts the balance. Instead of dollars flowing to large-scale distributors, money stays local, fueling rural economies and supporting agricultural sustainability. And the environmental impact? It's significant. With shorter supply chains, less fuel is used. Plastic packaging is often minimized or eliminated entirely. Organic and regenerative practices are more common, since the relationship between farmer and consumer is built on transparency and shared values. Composting food scraps often becomes a natural next step for members, completing the cycle. Perhaps one of the most powerful shifts comes in the way CSA reshapes our definition of success in food. The industrial system values volume, shelf life, and appearance. But CSA values nourishment, freshness, story, and trust. It teaches that the best strawberries are the ones too soft to ship, that the best lettuce is the kind with a bit of soil clinging to the roots, that beauty can be found in the irregular and the unexpected. It reminds us that food is not a commodity, it's a living gift. There's also a justice element to CSA. Many farms now incorporate sliding scale memberships, food access programs, and donate shares to food banks. By operating outside conventional markets, they can direct food where it's most needed without passing through bureaucratic barriers. A box filled with collards, bell peppers, onions, and fresh peaches can become a bridge to equity, a way to bring nutrient-dense food to communities that often go underserved. In urban spaces, CSA helps reconnect people to agriculture. Rooftop gardens, cooperatives, and small plots thrive under this model, often partnering with regional farms to bring fresh produce into city centers. School CSAs teach students not only how to eat, but how to grow. Hospitals and workplaces participate too, recognizing that food is foundational to health and happiness. The magic of CSA is in its feedback loop. When you eat food that you've helped support, you waste less. You respect the labor that went into its creation. You savor more. You cook intentionally. This changes not just meals, but mindsets. People begin to ask questions about their food sources, demand transparency, and advocate for better food policies. It's a quiet revolution, one rooted in carrots and corn, in leafy greens and heirloom beans, in meals shared and soil tended. And it doesn't stop with vegetables. Many CSA farms branch out into mushrooms, offering oyster or shiitake varieties cultivated on logs in shaded corners of the farm. Some raise bees and offer shares of raw honey, golden and floral. Others collaborate with local artisans to include jams, soaps, fresh pasta, or herbal teas in their weekly offerings. The CSA Box becomes a microcosm of the region's abundance and creativity. In winter, when the land sleeps, the CSA connection persists. Members attend farm potlucks, help plan next year's crops, or take part in seed sorting events. They bake with stored apples, preserve jars of pickled cucumbers, and make soup with the last of the carrots and onions. The bond continues. Food becomes a language spoken year-round. Community-supported agriculture is not a trend. It is a return, a reconnection to how food used to be, and a hopeful glimpse of how it could be again. It's a reminder that what we eat matters, not just in terms of nutrients, but in story, in justice, in stewardship. A single head of cabbage, grown with care and delivered with pride, carries more than calories. It carries meaning. The next time you hold a CSA carrot in your hand, its surface rough, its shape imperfect. Consider all that came before it. The hands that planted it, the rain that nourished it, the soil that embraced it, the sun that ripened it, and the community that made it possible. Then, take a bite. Taste the difference. And know that in that moment, you are part of something far greater than a meal.